Losing a loved one is difficult enough, but without proper estate planning, things can easily go from bad to worse. In his new book, The Will's Lawyers, there's stories of money, inheritance, greed, family, and betrayal. Wills and estate lawyer Les Kotzer offers advice that helps families during those turbulent times. And Les joins us now. It's good to have you here on this most important subject.
Thank you so much.
Who needs a will?
I think anybody over the age of majority needs a will. And I see so many nightmares. One of the things I do in my practice is I do free will reviews for people in Ontario. And I see messes in wills. I see horror stories. I see recipes for family fights. And a lot of people have outdated wills. They don't have up-to-date wills. A lot of things missing in their wills. A lot of people have homemade wills with a lot of messes in them. So I think anybody over the age of majority should have a will. And if you have a will, have it checked to make sure it's up to date.
What happens if you don't have one?
Well, if you don't have one, the law of your province writes the will for you, and it may not be what you want.
So enough said there. So you mentioned common mistakes that you've seen and recipes for disaster. What kinds of things are you talking about?
Well, for example, in the book we have a section there where we set out some of the problems that we have found. And if these problems are in your will, you better change your will. And a lot of people don't know these things. For example, I review a lot of wills and words like my memorabilia, my antiques. What do those words mean?
You've got to be specific.
To you it means something, to me it means something different.
Right.
People have executors that may have not been changed for 25 years. Their kids are now old enough to be executors, and yet their 90-year-old uncle is an executor. Gifts that they gave away in their lifetime are still mentioned in their will. Well, you're creating false expectations by doing that. So you've got to make sure your will is up to date and reflects your current life situation.
Yeah, it's a living, breathing document,
Absolutely.
right?
Absolutely.
You mentioned executors. Who makes a good executor?
Well, I think somebody, it's not just your oldest child, it's not just the accountant in the family, it's somebody that you trust, and you have to ask the executor, do you want to be my executor? They don't have to accept it. There are stories in the book about things gone wrong. People will be shocked with some of the things they read, they'll laugh at some of the things they read, and they'll cry at some of the things they read. These are stories from inside our world, and you'll see people who made bad choices of executors. You'll see people who made bad choices in general, who didn't listen to advice, who did things on their own, and they made messes for their family.
You know, you mentioned that if you don't have a will, the government will write one for you. If assets are seized, can people get them back?
Well, the government doesn't take them, but they'll write the will for you. So, for example, your best friend won't get anything. Your favorite charity won't get anything. Yeah. The child that doesn't see you for 30 years will get the same as a child who's very good to you. So you've got to prepare and do it right. And I recommend seeing a wills lawyer. Not every lawyer is a wills lawyer.
There are a lot of do-it-yourself kits out there.
Be careful. Penny wise, pound foolish. There's a story in the book about a woman who came in to make who made a homemade will, brought it into me. I looked at it. It was like 20 pages of fluff. And she said, is it okay? And I looked at it. I said, well, it's okay if you're telling me that you have one child named Frank, and he's your beneficiary. She said, what are you talking about? I have 3 kids. Why aren't they in my will? And I looked at it. I said, well, your will says your son Frank is your beneficiary. He's your best friend in the world. He's the best child in the world. He's everything you wanted. It says right in the will. She said, what about my other 2 kids? I said, did you write this will? She said, no, Frank did. And he had written the will for her. So these are the kind of stories you're going to read in the book, things that will shock you and things that will wake you up. And by the way, you can hear us reading stories from the book on our website, thewillslawyers.com.
Good to have you here. Thank you so much.